Dear students of 9th standard, let us start with the first lesson from the non-detailed text or the supplementary reading part. So the lesson here has the heading given is on earthquake. So before going to the lesson, we'll have a discussion on the natural disasters. So what are these natural disasters? So the disturbance in the nature or the naturally happening disasters like floods or earthquake, cyclone, storm or the hurricanes, all this disturb our earth a lot. And what are the causes? The causes are mainly the over usage of the natural resources or the lots of pollution that is done. All this in turn disturb the nature or the natural resources, and because of this we see that the natural disasters occur. Here you can observe one thing is mainly the planet Earth is disturbed a lot. Nowadays we are facing this situation a lot because there is a lot of disturbance when it comes to our weather, and you see how there are changes regarding the different seasons. So you can never predict now, or we cannot say when there will be rainfall or when there will be storm or the cyclone or the earthquake. You can predict only through the weather forecast, but naturally telling something about the ongoing or the changes in the weather or season has become very difficult. So lots of changes regarding the seasons or the weather around us, and this has led to the imbalanced life on the Mother Earth. And earthquake is a situation wherein usually there will be lots of destruction of the land area and also the structures or the buildings that are built by human beings, and also here the complete earth or the land itself gets disturbed a lot. So it is the tremors we feel, the tremors we feel. So when there is slight tremor within the earth, you may not see lots of destruction, but if this tremor goes to the higher level, then there will be a lot of destruction. So this is what is called as the earthquake. The earthquake, the tremor that occurs within the earth or in the earth's crust. So this disturbs the earth a lot, and thus it leads to the destruction. So in this lesson, the writer, that is M.S. Mahadevan or Madhuri S. Mahadevan, she is from Bangalore. She has written this short story, and here an experience of the earthquake which had happened is being explained by a person who is running a tea stall and is going on telling what happened. And usually this is a situation which leads to lots of death and also lots of disturbance in the land area, or also it will disturb the water bodies also. So okay, we'll now go to the lesson, and it is a non-detailed text. If you read itself you will come to know, but here I will give you the reading and we'll have the discussion with the meanings of the words. So mainly concentrate on the reading, the pronunciations, because you should get habituated in reading the lessons and trying to know the meanings by yourself, so that you can keep on reading again and again and try to understand it and write the answers by yourself, so that it will be very helpful for you all to face your exams and also enhance your language or the vocabulary. Shall we start with the lesson, children? Please concentrate on the explanation and pronunciation. Are you a stranger to these parts, waiting for the bus to Badrinath? Perhaps you are a pilgrim or a visitor to the Valley of Flowers. Anyway, whoever you are, come with me, wait at my tea shop. It is just past the bend in the road. As you can see, I am carrying this can of milk to the shop. In 10 minutes, I will have a fire going. While you warm yourself, I will prepare for you the best cup of tea in all Garhwal. It will chase away the pinched blue look from your face. So here it is a conversation between two people, that is a pilgrim and a shopkeeper or a person who is running a tea shop. So here you are very clear that about which part of the country we are speaking. So here we are speaking about the place that is Badrinath. And here the person is talking, that is the tea shop owner or the person who has owned that tea shop. He is talking to a person who is waiting for a bus or who wants to travel. Are you a stranger to these parts? So how is the conversation starting here? With the question asking that, are you a stranger? Stranger means you have come for the first time, or you are not well known here, or you are not well known to this place. Are you a stranger? You have come from some other place. Waiting for the bus to Badrinath. Are you waiting for the bus to Badrinath? Perhaps you are a pilgrim or a visitor to the Valley of the Flowers. So here he tells, okay, I guess you are a person who is a stranger and you have come as a pilgrim. Pilgrim means the person who goes for pilgrimages. Pilgrimages means going to visit different temples. Pilgrim or pilgrimages. Pilgrimages, the places where the temples are situated, and the people who go for that, for visiting of those temples, that is called as the pilgrimage. The person who goes there, that is called as pilgrim, or a visitor to the Valley of Flowers. Anyway, whoever you are, come with me, wait at my tea shop. It is just past the bend in the road. Now he is calling him, come there, come and stay near my tea shop. You can come and wait there. It is just past the bend in the road. Means it is very nearby. There is a small curve or a crossing. You can call it as a curve. That is nothing but the bend. So there itself my tea shop is situated. You can come there. So here you come to know that there is a person who has come for pilgrimage, and he is a pilgrim. Pilgrimage means Tirtha Yatra. You can know it in Kannada also. Pilgrims means the people who go for that pilgrimage. Yatrigalu. So here it is just the introduction of the two persons who are talking to each other. As you can see, I am carrying this can of milk to the shop. He is having a can with him and he is carrying that to his shop because it is a tea shop. In 10 minutes, I will have a fire going. So, he tells that within 10 minutes, I will have a fire going. Means he will start the fire burning for preparation of the tea. While you warm yourself, I will prepare for the best cup of tea in all Garhwal. So the fire will start burning so that you can also warm yourself, and within that time I will prepare a best cup of tea for you, which is very much famous in this place, that is Garhwal. So you come to know that now the place where they are situated or where they are there is Garhwal, and the pilgrim, he wants to go to Badrinath and is waiting for a bus. It will chase away the pinched blue look from your face. So I think you are feeling tired, or maybe you are feeling very tired because of the cold or pain. Pinched is tensed from worry, or also because when you feel very tired or very cold, that time also your face changes pale. You look very tired. So he is telling, if you have my cup of tea, then it will chase away all your pain or your tiredness, and you will look very active or fresh. So he is telling, it will chase away the pinched blue look from your face. Actually, what is this blue look? Blue look means when you feel tired, your face becomes very pale. So that is referred to as blue look. Feeling tired, or when you are unhappy, when you are not happy, when you are sad, you look very pale, that is called as the blue look. So here you have got the introduction. Here we are. Welcome to my humble roadside tea shop. Make yourself comfortable on this wooden bench. It looks rickety, but it will hold your weight. My name, Sahib. I am called Bridge. I am 17 years old. I started this tea shop 2 years ago. Before that, I worked in a roadside dhaba outside Panipat. The heat, the crowd, the pollution, it was all too much. I had saved most of my earnings. Here we are. Welcome to my humble roadside tea shop. So they reach their tea shop, and he tells him, make yourself comfortable on this wooden bench. So he tells that pilgrim to take rest or sit on this wooden bench. It looks rickety. Rickety is shaky, means something that shakes, which is not stable or which is not properly fixed. It looks rickety, but it will hold your weight. So it will bear your weight. You can sit safely. There is no problem. So very outspoken person. The person who is the owner of the tea shop, he was very outspoken, very friendly. So he was very jovial in his speaking. My name, Sahib. I am called Bridge. I am 17 years old. I started this tea shop 2 years ago. So again, he just introduces himself. He tells that my name is Bridge and I have started this tea shop 2 years ago and I am 17 years old. Before that, I worked in a roadside dhaba. Dhaba is roadside restaurants. So you get such restaurants especially when you travel on highways. So here he tells that I was working in a roadside dhaba, that is outside Panipat. Why is he referring outside Panipat? It is means always you get these dhabas on the outskirts or when you travel on highways. The heat, the crowd, the pollution, it was all too much. I had saved most of my earnings. So there when he was working, so it was a hectic work for him. So there was too much of crowd, too much of pollution, and the crowd was there, and because of the heat, everything, it was a very hectic work for him, and he had saved most of his earnings. Whatever he earned, money he got there as salary, he had saved it. I came back and with a little help, I started this shop. By the grace of Badri Vishal, it provides me a decent enough livelihood. Here your tea is ready, strong, sweet, flavored with cardamom. Enjoy it, Sahib, while I get on with my chores. This is my daily routine. At sunset, I will shut my shop and walk back the 3 miles to my dwelling on the hillside. The name of my village, it was my village, the village of my ancestors. It is no more. Multi is gone. So now again he goes on explaining about his experiences and also something about his village and his work. So he tells that I came back, means after working there in the dhaba, he came back. He had so much of earnings with him, and with a little help, he needed some more help for starting a shop of his own. So he started this shop, and by the grace of God, or that is Badri Vishal, he is telling he is able to lead a enough or a decent livelihood. It provides me enough or a decent livelihood. Decent means there is no dependent on others, wherein he could lead a life, and enough. Enough means whatever is sufficient. So he is leading a sufficient and decent life. There is no much dependence or no other pains or whatever is there. He is self-sufficient. Here your tea is ready, strong, sweet, flavored with cardamom. So all these expressions he has added there, or you can also call it as the adjectives strong, sweet, flavored. So it is flavored with cardamom. Usually when you prepare teas, you use ginger or cardamom. Some of them also use cinnamon, so that it becomes a different type of tea, where you also call it as the masala tea. So he has prepared a tea. Enjoyed it, Sahib, while I get on with my chores. So you can enjoy it, sir, you can have it. I will continue with my regular work. Chores is nothing but my regular work. This is my daily routine. So this is what is my work. I have to prepare tea and sell it every day. At sunset, that is the evening time or the time before it is completely dark. At sunset, I will shut my shop and walk back 3 miles to my dwelling. So he has to walk 3 miles to his house. Dwelling is the place where he lives. So he has to walk back. That's why what does he do? He will close his shop at sunset. As it is getting dark, he will close his shop, and he goes on walking to his place, that is on the hillside. Where is his house? His house is at the hillside. The name of my village. So he is telling about his village. It was my village. So he is just remembering something. He is telling the name of my village. It was my village. So you get a clue here. It was my village. Was my village. The village of my ancestors. So it was a village where his ancestors lived. Ancestors means forefathers. Maybe the father or grandfathers of your grandfather. That is your fathers, grandfathers, or the previous generation, you call it as forefathers. So it was a village where my ancestors lived. It is no more. Multi is gone. Now he is telling it is no more. Here also we are getting a little bit of clue. He is telling it is no more. No more means it does not exist. Multi is gone. It is not there. It is gone. We will see what happened. What happened to my village? So he himself is continuing the story. He is telling what happened to my village. It was 4 years ago, in the month of October, one night, the earth quacked. The earth quacked. Yes, tremors are common in these parts. So tremors are common in these parts. So most of the time we experience it. The tremors are common in these parts. These snows may seem eternal. The Himalayas may look solid, but the truth is, deep down, they are unstable. We who live here are accustomed to tremors. So what is it telling? So 4 years back, the month of October, one night the earth quacked. Quacked is nothing but the feeling of shaking. Quacked. There was a sound. There was a quack. Yes, tremors are common in these places. Tremor is the shaking. That is slight earthquake. Slight earthquake. So there was tremors. These these tremors, they are common here in this place or these parts. These snows, now he is explaining how that area used to look or how that village used to be or the environment or the nature there. These snows may seem eternal. The snow what you see here now, it looks eternal. Eternal means everlasting. There is no, what is that? Change. Or when it comes to human beings, if you tell, eternal means no death. Or they never get spoilt or vanished, whatever is. It is permanent, eternal. The Himalayas may look solid. Snows look as if they are eternal. Himalayas look as if they are solid, means very strong. But the truth is, deep down they are unstable. But the truth is, deep down, that is under the earth or within the earth or under the ground, they are not stable. Unstable means they are not strong, they are not stable. We who live here are accustomed to tremors. So the people who live here, we are accustomed. Accustomed means habituated. We are always facing it and it has become a habit, habituated. We have got customized here. So for what are they accustomed? They are got accustomed to the tremors, that is the shaking or the earthquakes. But what happened that night? So when it is a mild tremor or it is just a sudden shaking and stopping, it is something okay, bearable. But what happened that night was more than that. It was something, a dangerous situation, more than that. It was a terrible earthquake. So it was not just a tremor, it was a terrible earthquake. Its effects were felt as far away as Delhi and Lucknow. So it was such a terrible earthquake that people who live there in places like Delhi and Lucknow, they also could know the effect of that earthquake. So such a terrible and disastrous earthquake took place in his village. How many years back? 4 years back in the month of October. Can you imagine the devastation at the heart of the earthquake? Can you imagine that? The epicenter was in a valley not far from here. There were 670 villages in the valley. 602 were destroyed. The earthquake lasted less than 5 minutes. Time enough to set these centuries old mountains crashing to reduce our villages to rubble, to snuff out hundreds of lives. It was sheer chance that I was away that night. So this paragraphs, actually when you read it, when you involve in the reading, you'll come to know the pain or the disaster that took place. So the devastation means here lay waste. Can you imagine the devastation at the heart of the earth? Earthquake means what happened? The problem that occurred, that went waste, everything went waste. At the heart of the earthquake means the center place where this earthquake took place. The epicenter was in a valley not far from here. Epicenter means the actual point where that disturbance occurs under the ground or in the earth. So here what happened? That was not very far away. So it was not far away, it was in a valley not very far from here. There were 670 villages in the valley. So how many villages were there in that valley where the earthquake took place, or where the epicenter was there, or where that was the center place of that earthquake? So there were how many villages? 670 villages in that valley. 602 were destroyed. So how many villages got destroyed? 602. Out of 670, 602 villages got destroyed. The earthquake lasted less than 5 minutes. 5 minutes of earthquake. We may feel it is 5 minutes, but the earthquake taking place for seconds itself, it is unbearable. Then think for 5 minutes. Time enough to set these centuries old mountains crashing, to reduce our villages to rubble, to snuff out hundreds of lives. So what happened there? It was a little, what is that, extent of time, or but it is considered as a large period or a very big period, time enough to set these centuries old mountains crashing. So because of that shaking, the old mountains, centuries old mountains, what happened? They started crashing. They started coming down to reduce our villages to rubble. Completely the village area, it was completely rubble. Rubble means everything was destroyed. To snuff out hundreds of lives. Snuff is just take away. To blow off. Snuff, blow off. So most of the people who lived there, they lost their lives. It was sheer chance that I was away that night. It was a sheer chance, means a slight escape there. So he could escape that because he was away that night. That night he was not there in that village. He had gone out with some other work. I had gone to Puri to buy my school books. I stayed the night at my uncle's house. We felt the tremors. We ran out into the open. Again and again the tremors came. We spent the entire night outside. Puri lived through the night. Multi did not. For the living, the nightmare began at daybreak, when the news trickled in of the large-scale devastation. There were dozens of landslides, huge boulders thrown haphazardly across motorable tracks and roads. See how the destructions happened. So he had gone to Puri to buy his school books. So he was a school going boy at that time when that earthquake took place. So he had gone to Puri to bring his school books, and he stayed in his uncle's house that night. But they also felt that tremor. They came to know somewhere something is happening. We ran out into the open. We went out into the open area. Again and again the tremors came. So there was so much of shaking of the land area. We spent the entire night outside. So we were all standing outside and seeing what is happening. So exactly they also did not come to know what is happening. Puri lived through the night. Multi did not. So what's the meaning? The sentence really, it pinches you a lot. The village by name Puri lived through that night, means there was no much problem in that village where his uncle's house is there. It lived, it could survive, but Multi did not. So which is the village that got completely destroyed? Is his own village, that is Multi. For the living, the nightmare began at daybreak, when the news trickled in of the large-scale devastation. So for all of us who were alive, or the places where nothing happened a lot, we all came to know the nightmare. Means it was really a nightmare wherein You could not think about that. Nightmare is a very, what is that? Frightful dreams. But here it was also like a nightmare, but it actually happened, and it began at the daybreak. That time everyone came to know the news when it was day. The next day everyone came to know the news. It trickled everywhere. Trickle means everyone came to know. From everywhere you came to know. Trickled in of the large scale devastation. What happened is, there was a large scale devastation. Devastation means lots of destruction, and everything was destroyed. There were dozens of landslides. There were dozens of landslides. Means because of the earthquake, there was landsliding. The lands were disturbed, or you could see large, what's that, cracks, or the hilly areas sliding down. All this is called as landslides. Huge boulders. Boulders means the rock. Huge boulders. Very big stones thrown haphazardly. Means they all came rolling down. They were rushed out. So what happened? They came in, they were falling haphazardly. Haphazardly means not organized. It is not a proper way. It is thrown away like anything, haphazardly, across motorable tracks and roads. Means where were this, what is that, boulders or the mud or the landslide areas, especially it was on the motorable tracks. Motorable tracks means the place wherein you can go on vehicles or by walk. This tells you that all the roads and the place where you could move, everything was destroyed. Precious time was spent in blasting the rocks and clearing the way for army rescue teams. It was all of 4 days before help arrived for Multi. I was among the first to reach the village. My uncle accompanied me. We feared the worst, but nothing had prepared us for what we saw. Every single house, every wall, every roof had been flattened. Stone, rubble, and dust were all that remained. Our house was a 2-storied stone building with a slate roof. So he is explaining precious time was spent in blasting the rocks and clearing the way for army rescue teams. Usually you see, if there is some disaster like floods or earthquake or cyclone, so people from army or the army comes to rescue. Rescue means to save people. So the team is called as rescue team. So they had to come in. They had to come in there for the rescue of people, and that's why most of the time was spent in blasting the rocks and clearing the way. Means when fallen down, there was no way, so they were trying to blast it off and make it clear, and thus the way was getting cleared for the army to come in and rescue people. It was all of 4 days before help arrived for Multi. So almost it was 4 days. I was among the first to reach the village. So he came to the village and he was the first person to reach the village there. His uncle was also with him, accompanied means he came with him. We feared the worst, but nothing had prepared us for what we saw. We feared the worst means by seeing that situation. It is a very worst situation. It really made us, it really disturbed us, and it was a fearful situation. But nothing had prepared us for what we saw. We were not at all prepared. No one thought this would happen, and we were not at all prepared for this situation. Every single house, every wall, every roof had been flattened. Most of the houses in this village, they were flattened. Flattened means everything was buried under the mud, or it was buried under the mother earth. Everything got flattened. No buildings, nothing there. Stone, rubble and dust were all that remained. What were the remainings there? The debris, that is the stone or the broken things or the destroyed buildings. Rubble is fragments of brick or stone. The buildings have shattered down. So that was the situation there. Our house was a 2-storied stone building with a slate roof. So his building or his house was 2-storied, means he had 2 stores of house, that is a ground floor or the first floor. And what happened is, the house, it was made out of stone and with the slate roof. Slate roof means it is a hard material which can keep the building very safe, and even then completely it was demolished. My great grandfather had built the house. We were a small family. My father had died after an illness just 14 months ago. My mother took care of us. We were 3 children. I was the oldest. My brother Nilu was 10. Bully, my 2-year-old sister, was the baby of the family. My grandmother lived with us. When the soldiers began to clear the debris, my uncle led me away. I was in a complete daze, too numb to feel anything. So he is explaining about his family and also the house that was built by his grandfather. He is telling that the house was built by his grandfather. My grandfather had died because of some illness, and after that just 14 months ago. So before that earthquake, his grandfather had died, that is 14 months ago, and his mother took care. Sorry children, it's not grandfather. My father had died after an illness just 14 months ago. So his father had died just 14 months ago. My mother just took care of us, and she was the person who had just taken care of the family, because 14 months ago itself his father had died, so she had taken the responsibility. We were 3 children. I was the oldest, means he was the first child there, oldest. My brother Nilu, and he was 10 years old. He had a sister who was 2 years. She was a little baby of the family, and they had their grandmother with them. Now the soldiers were coming, so they were trying to clear the debris. Debris means all the left out things, maybe the dead bodies or the destroyed buildings. Especially debris means the dead bodies were being cleared. Here it is given stone fragments or wreckage, all the destroyed things. My uncle led me away. So what did his uncle do? From that place he took him away, led me away. I was in a complete daze, too numb to feel anything. So he was in a complete daze. Daze means he is completely in a different situation. He could not know what is happening, and he was completely confused. Too numb. Too numb means he was not able to react for that. Somewhat he became numb to feel anything. He was not able to feel anything. He was not able to express anything. Completely a dumb situation. The soldiers had set up a makeshift camp. Someone gave me tea and biscuits. I don't know how long I was there. Suddenly it was evening, and uncle was standing beside me. They have taken the bodies to the river bank, he said gently. Come, you must perform the last rites before sunset. Tomorrow we will go back to Puri. So here now the soldiers are there. They have set up a makeshift camp, means whoever is alive there, so they were being shifted to the camps. They had made makeshift camps, means whatever facilities can be given, that was being given the basic facility, and the people were there, whoever were there, they were being shifted. Someone gave me tea and biscuits. So someone there, they gave him tea and biscuits. I don't know how long I was there. He doesn't remember how long he was there. He is just going on expressing it. Suddenly it was evening and uncle was standing beside me because he was in a dazed situation. Now somebody gave him a little bit of tea and biscuits. Then later on his uncle came and stood beside him and he said, they have taken the bodies to the riverside. Now uncle is telling that the bodies are being taken to the riverside. He said gently, coolly, slowly, he told it. Come, you must perform the last rites before sunset. So he's calling this fellow, the bridge will go to the riverside. You have to perform the last rites. What is this last rites? Nothing but the burial of the dead bodies. This tells us that his family members also died because of this earthquake, and all the last rites, it should be done before sunset. Tomorrow we will go back to Puri. So uncle tells him that we have to finish all this work and we'll go back to Puri tomorrow. I had last seen my family while leaving for Puri. They stood at the doorway and waved Ma, Dadi, Neelu and Bully. So he is just thinking it, or he is remembering, he is recollecting when did he see his family last. So when did he see them? When he was leaving for Puri, or even he was leaving for Puri to go and get his books. All of them were standing there in front of his house or the doorway and they were waving. So who all were there? Ma is the mother, Dadi is the grandmother, Neelu his brother and Bully is sister. So this was the last time I could see my mother, my Dadi, Neelu and Bully. So here you come to know the situation of that earthquake, and we also come to know that he has lost his family members. So you can know that what pain or what is the situation at that age wherein he came to know that most of his family members are no more, only a difference of one night, or you can also take it as a day when he had gone to bring his school books, and next day when he came back there was no house, all his family members were not there, the whole village was destroyed. That is the way I will always remember them smiling and waving at me, not as the white shrouded lifeless figures I saw. Bully, she was not there. So here he tells that he saw them at last was when he left to Puri, and there he tells that I will always remember them how smiling and waving at me. Means he keeps that memory with him, that is they all were smiling and waving at me, not as the white shrouded lifeless figures I saw. So he did not want to have that memory of the dead bodies or the white shrouded lifeless figures I saw. Shrouded is a cloth in which a corpse is wrapped for burial. So before burying the dead bodies, when they are covered with the white cloth, that is called as shrouded. So he doesn't want to remember that memory he did not want to have. The lifeless bodies covered with the white cloth, he wanted to have that smiling and waving or the happy faces of his family members. But one thing here, Bully, she was not there. So Bully was not there. So there were how many dead bodies then? So the dead bodies were only 3. That is his mother, then grandmother and his brother. Bully was not there. So this is a situation which was disturbing him a lot. So it was disturbing him a lot, but he wanted to have a very good memory about his family members. Okay, now we'll stop here. This is the first part of the lesson. We'll continue the lesson in the second part of the lesson. Thank you.